we see two distinct phases. The way the question papers used to be framed in the till 2019, where we used to see more of a straightforward questions. Okay. Generally, the ideally we used to see, I mean, four options used to be given, one and two and three, one and two. Such kind of questions were more. Okay. But what we are seeing right now is that statement-based questions are there, no doubt. Rather than asking one is correct or one and two only, right now we see predominantly more kind of where only one, only two statements, only three statements are correct. So such kind of options have made this examination a more tougher one. Okay, point number one. Point number two that we need to understand very clearly is when we see the question paper outside the examination hall, it seems to be easy. Okay, but when we are in the examination hall and attempting the questions, it becomes a very tough. Okay, and moreover, the third point is knowing the topic is completely different from our ability to eliminate the options. Okay, I mean, looking at the question like the unmanned aerial vehicle UAE, it seems to be very easy question, but then look at the options that were framed, the manner in which the statements have been framed, that makes this examination and the process as a more tougher one. So our initial observations is the question paper is same like the previous years. Okay, point number one. Point number two, question paper is still on a tougher side. Okay, it is very premature on our part to predict the cutoff right now at the right moment. Okay, at this moment it is going to take at least 2 to 3 days to specifically analyze the question, question by question, and then to comment on the uh, cutoff. Okay, so I would request all the students who are joined, I mean, just wait for 2 to 3 days for us to come on specifically about the cutoff for the various categories. Okay, so without wasting time, let us quickly start with the today's question paper discussion. I once again welcome you all for the today's session. The question number one, can you see here? I mean, we are discussing from the set B. Okay, the first question: consider the following vehicles: full battery electric vehicles. Okay, hydrogen fuel cell vehicle, uh, and the third one happens to be the full cell electric hybrid vehicles. Now, the question they have asked is how many of the above considered as an alternative to powertrain vehicles? Powertrain vehicles happens to be, that is our ICE, that is internal combustion engines. Without going much in detail, we know that air and the fuel are mixed, compressed. Using that, the energy is created that we see of a two-stroke, four-stroke engines. That all happens to be the powertrain vehicles. So as an alternative, as a more cleaner fuel, we see the lithium battery vehicles. So our full battery vehicles happens to be the alternative to power train vehicles, as well as the hydrogen fuel cell also is a alternative to it. Full cell electric is also the alternative. So all of the three are the correct one, which are alternative. So this question, with the given amount of a preparation for a candidate, he is expected to mark it correctly. Look at the question number two. I just talked 5 minutes ago. With reference to unmanned aerial vehicle, we are seeing more and more, just in the backdrop of Operation Sindoor, where we see the storm of UAVs were launched towards India, the Turkish-made UAVs. So let us look at the statement now. All type of unmanned aerial vehicles can do vertical landing. Look at the statement. All types of UAVs can do automated hovering. All types of UAVs can use battery only as a source of power supply. So the first one, look at to be a vertical landing, I mean, if you consider the advanced drones of the US, like MQ-9B Reaper, I mean, which is of a more of a advanced and more of a deadly, which is whose missions include the reconnaissance and the intelligence gathering. The MQ-9B Reaper cannot go for a vertical landing. Okay, so not all types of UAVs can do vertical landing. The UAVs with the multi rotors can do the vertical landing. The fixed wing are the one that cannot do the vertical landing. So the here, since it is all, the statement number one is false. Look at the next one. All types of UAE can do automated hovering. This is where slight doubt arises. See, if you look at the most, or even the for a fact, the majority of the UAEs that are used for the civil and the administration civil purpose, that can do the automated hovering. Okay, so statement number two. Statement, look at this statement number three. All types of UAVs can use the battery only. This is again the wrong. MQ-9B Reaper, which I gave the example, which also uses the fuel as the source of power supply as well. So the statement number three happens to be the false as well. So with now the only question that remains is the two. Okay, since as I said very clearly, there is a lot of possibility. Either here A will be correct or D will be correct. Okay, so again we need to wait for the UPSC's one, but for sure only two, B and C are completely wrong here. Okay, now let us move towards the one more. In the context of electric vehicles, consider the following: the cobalt, uh, graphite, lithium, and nickel. Which of the above usually make up the battery cathodes? That they are asking this particular question. Now here we need to understand that we learned that is the cathode and the anode. One is anode for the oxidation and the cathode for the reduction. One is where the electrons end up and another one is where the electrons are generated. The graphite is the only material that is not used to make up the cathodes. Okay, so here the option is only one, that is the A. Now moving to the question number four. The question number four, how many of them contain the plastic? So again, this, see, I mean, uh, that again seems to be very easy, or the notion that we have about the plastic is completely different from what the concept as a plastic says. Cigarette butts contain the element of plastic. Yes. Eyeglass lenses. Yes. Even the car tires also contains the plastic. So here all of the three options contain the plastic. So next one happens to be the question number four, the coal gasification technology, where the coal is burnt at a higher temperature. So which are the products, I mean, can be used in the production of how many of them? It except the nitroglycerin, the ethanol, and urea. So here only two are the right one. The question number six, which is again, can you see here? Three chemical substances were given. What is the common characteristic of the chemical substances that are given here? Cl20, HMX, LLM105, which are the sometimes talked about in media. They are the alternatives of hydrocarbon refrigerants. These are explosives in the military weapons. They are high energy fuels for cruise missiles. These are fuels for rocket propulsion. These all happens to be the explosives in military weapons. If you look at something like Cl20, it is considered as even at least 10 times deadlier than the TNT material. So the option happens to be the sixth one is B. So let us look at the next question, the question number seven. It is expected that the Majorana chip will enable the quantum computing. This is the current affairs based one, which is more straightforward in comparison with the any other question. So Majorana one chip was being introduced by the Amazon Web Services. No, it was introduced by the Microsoft. So the two is false. Deep learning is a subset of a machine learning. Yes, the statement number three happens to be absolutely true. So the answer that for this one is 193 only. That is the option number C. C happens to be the correct one. Next, look at the question number 8. With reference to the monoclonal antibodies, we know the monoclonal antibodies are nothing but they are the man-made proteins which are created to target this specific cell to cure certain kind of a diseases. Okay, so now, first one, they are man-made proteins. Absolutely yes. They stimulate immunological function due to their ability to bind to a specific antigen. I said very clearly. I mean, they are injected. They are supposed to, create a response to that one. So, two, yes, they are used in treating the viral infections like the Nipah virus. Absolutely yes. I mean, this was in the news in the year 2023 when India has requested the Australia for the monoclonal antibody doses. Okay, so that is what we keep on saying about the current affairs in for UPSC. According to UPSC, just it was in news recently. That in news recently means more than a year. I mean, it exceeds even 18 months, 20 months. Okay, now, so for this, the answer happens to be 1, 2, and a 3. That's the D. Now, look at one more question that consider the following statements, which is again a little bit on a easier side among the given science questions. Okay. No virus can survive in ocean waters. No virus do survive in the ocean waters. They have a higher ability to adapt, to live in a much more harsher conditions. Okay, no virus can infect bacteria. Virus do infect bacteria. So the statement number two is also wrong. Statement number one is also wrong. No virus can change a cellular transcriptional activity. Again here, remember, this is only mechanism. I mean, it's a mechanism through which the viruses get multiplied. That is how they reproduce. So the all these statements that are given happens to be false here. So he is asking how many of the above statements are correct. None of the above statements are correct because virus do survive in ocean waters. Virus do infect the bacteria. Virus do, I mean, can change the cellular transcriptional activity. That is how they multiply. So the answer here happens to be the D. Okay, next one, these were the kind of questions that we are seeing much more. Look at the statement, question number 10. Three statements were given, and we could where the 2 and 3, whether they do explain the statement number 1 or not. Look at the statement number 1. Activated, the concept was the activated carbon. What is the activated carbon? We know that whenever any natural carbon elements like firewood, charcoal that are heated at a greater temperature, they become porous and they are able to absorb the toxins. They are able to absorb the heavy materials as the surface is going to increase. So activated carbon is a good and an attractive tool to remove the pollutants from effluent streams and to remediate the contaminants from the various industries. Absolutely yes, no doubt at all. Statement 1 is absolutely true. Activated carbon exhibits a large surface area and a strong potential for absorbing the heavy metals. That is what I said. It is heated at a high temperature, surface area is going to increase. Statement number 2 is also true. Statement number 3, activated carbon can be easily synthesized from the environmental waste with a high carbon content. Yes, the firewood, as I gave the example. So here, the answer happens to be both statement 2 and statement 3 are correct, and both of them explain the statement number 1. So answer is the A. So moving on to the next question, that is the question number 11. Uh, Again, three statements are given, and let us study the one by one. Uh, Studies indicate the carbon dioxide emission from a cement industry account for more than a 5% of the global carbon emission. Again, look at here. This particular statement happens to, I mean, to know whether the particular statement is true or false, I feel very few people will be able, students will be able to know. Because look at the one, it is asking about the carbon emissions at a global scale, that too from a specific industry, that is the cement industry. Okay, so studies indicate the carbon dioxide emissions from a cement industry account for more than 5%, but reports say that they emit somewhere around the 7 to 8%. So statement number one is a true. Okay, look at this statement number 2 and 3, which are on an easier side in comparison with the statement number 1. Silica bearing clay is mixed with the limestone while manufacturing the cement. Yes, limestone is converted into lime during the clinker production for cement manufacturing. This is where they generate the carbon dioxide. So both the statements happens to be true, as well as they rightly explain the statement number 1. So here also the answer happens to be the A. Next one, this is one of the one that is again was a current affairs related issue. At a 28th UN climate change conference, that is COP28, India refrained from signing the declaration of on a climate and health. Absolutely yes, because India was, I mean, which talked about reducing the carbon emissions. So India was, said very clearly the targets that have been, given here are absolute, I mean, are difficult to achieve in reality. So it is not at all practical to achieve these targets. So that is a one reason we have refrained from signing it. Do remember very clearly, India happens to be the leader where it is working towards reducing the carbon footprint and all, given the our stage of development as well. So statement number 1 is true. COP28 declaration on climate and health is binding declaration, and if signed it becomes mandatory. Okay, again this happens to be the false, it's non-binding in nature. If India's health sector is decarbonized, the resilience of its healthcare system may be compromised. Yes, that's the reason we have not signed it. Okay, here these as I said, only one of the statement is correct, and that explains the statement number 1. C is the answer. Let us look at the question number 13. Statement number 1, scientific studies suggest that the shift in taking place in Earth's rotation and axis. Yes, the Earth's, that is the tilted, it is changing, the degree is changing. Statement number 2, solar flares and associated coronal mass ejections, that is from the sun, bombarded the Earth's outermost atmosphere with a tremendous amount of energy. Yes, this is also true. As the Earth's polar ice melts, the water tends to move towards the equator. Okay, so both 2 and 3 are affecting the statement number 1. Okay, so next one, look at the question number 14. Article 6 of the Paris Agreement, where India was one of the champion of this particular agreement. Okay, Article 6 of the Paris Agreement on climate change is frequently discussed. Global discussion on sustainable development at a climate change. Yes, Article 6 of the agreement climate sets out the principles of carbon markets. Yes, carbon development mechanism. Article 6 of the Paris Agreement on climate change intends to promote the inter-country non-market strategies to reach their targets. This is where, you know, 3 happens to be on a negative aspect. So answer for this happens to be only one of the 2 and 3 is correct. That explains the statement number 1. The answer happens to be the C here. Okay, question number 14. Let us quickly move to the question number 50. Which of the following launched the Nature Solutions Finance Hub for the Asia and the Pacific? That is the Asian Development Bank. Okay, question number 16. With reference to direct air capture and emerging technology, which of the following statement is correct? That is the question here. It can be used as a way of carbon sequestration. Yes, it can be, it can be a valuable approach for a plastic production and food processing. In activation, in aviation, it can be a source of a carbon for combining with the hydrogen. Yes, here 1, 2, and 3. Now, next one, the question number, again, this happens to be on a tougher side, a bit on a tougher side. Here, look at the question regarding this particular peacock tarantula. Consider the following statement. It is an omnivorous. Okay, its natural habitat in India is only limited to some of the forest areas. In its natural habitat is an arboreal species. Here it happens to be a kind of a spider. Okay, so the statement happens to be 2 and a 3. For a 17th, it's a 2 and a 3. Okay, next look at the question number 18. Again, the environment related question number 18 happens to be uh, carbon dioxide emissions in India are less than 0.5 t CO2, zero point 0.5 ton of CO2 per capita. It's more than 1.5 ton. Okay, so statement number 2 happens to be on a false. In terms of CO2 emissions from combustion, India ranks second in Asia Pacific. Yes. Electricity and heat producers are the largest source of CO2 emission. Here against wrong. It's a 2 only. Okay. Next one, look at the, again, this happens to be on a very tougher side, to be honest. Here, the fourth is the only option that is not rightly matched. Okay, mint that the only one, the which is not rightly matched. So here the options are only 4 is the right option. Next, look at the question number 20, which talks about the planet Earth and the oxygen. Okay. Uh, Next, rainforest produces more oxygen than that produced by the oceans. No, oceans produce more oxygen. Okay, so one is absolutely false. So we have straight away removed A and C. So the only that remains here is the B. Marine plankton and the photosynthetic bacteria produces about 50% of the world oxygen. Absolutely yes. So here the statement number 2 is right. Okay, so these are the questions related, that is the 1 to 2, 1 to 20, either related to science, either related uh, to the environmental section. For the next set of history questions, one of my colleague, Mr. Nilanjan Chatterjee, will take over. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I'll be discussing from the question number uh, 21. Uh, just give me a moment. Uh, I think the screen is visible. Uh, please, Prabhu sir, can you let me know
Yes,
whether
sir.
the screen
Yes,
is
it's
visible?
visible, sir.
Thank you very much. So as we can see in the question number 21, the question is consider the following statements about Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Okay. The first statement is he possessed great love and respect for the traditional philosophical systems of the East. Now, this is a very tricky question as we find Raja Ram Mohan Roy, as historians call him the first liberal person of South Asia. It is a little tricky. Why? Because it directly mentions philosophical systems of the East, of not of the West. The second point is he desired his countrymen to accept the rational and scientific approach and the principle of human dignity and social equality of all men and women. Now, this is both for point one and point two, both are correct. Why? Because although Raja Rammohan Roy was deeply influenced by Western philosophy, he spoke about Vedanta or Upanishadic traditions. He wanted to revisit the Upanishadic traditions of ancient India. He thought that Upanishad and the ancient texts are mostly unread or misinterpreted. We should reread and reinterpret these texts. So we can't say that he was solely a westernized person. So his, I would say, interest in Eastern philosophy is also very important. That is why point number one is correct. And point number two, all his activities, including the construction of Atmiya Sabha, Brahma Sabha, and then Brahma Samaj, these three organizations, I mean, showcase that he desired to create an organization based on human dignity, and social equality. An organization that will talk about all these questions and problems. Okay, so yes, for this question, the correct answer has to be both one and two. So now let's come to uh, question number 22. Consider the following subjects with regard to non-cooperation program. Uh, First point is boycott of law courts and foreign clothes. The second point is observance of strict nonviolence. Third point is retention of titles and honors without using them in public. And fourth point is establishment of panchayats for settling disputes. Everything was all right. The first 3 points is pretty direct. Okay, boycott and law courts and foreign clothes. Okay, boycott of law courts and foreign clothes is one of the main agendas of the non-cooperation movements, one of the main instruments of the non-cooperation movement. The second point is also very clear: observance of strict non-violence. Mahatma Gandhi actually propagated his non-violence agendas through these movements like non-cooperation and civil disobedience in the 1920s and 30s. So these are pretty much understandable. Even the third point is also uh, kind of understandable. That is retention of titles and honors without using them in public. Because on one hand, it is not asking people to embrace extremism. So that is why retention of titles and honors without using them in public. These three are completely understandable. But the main problem is with the fourth point. That is the establishment of panchayats for settling disputes. So there are recent articles written on the non-cooperation movement that claim that how it actually propagated the notion of panchayat in colonial India. So this is a very tricky question. Could have been just three. Okay, that is answer number C. But even if it is all the four, that is answer number D, there is nothing that there is nothing to argue. Okay, because some historians nowadays are claiming that the Panchayati system actually was originated during that phase, that point of time in the 1920s, particularly during the non-cooperation movement. So that is a very, very tricky question. So the answer would be either C or D. Uh, Question number 23, the irrigation device called Araghatta. Okay, this is also a very, very important question. So the answer number one is, that is answer A, is a water bag made of leather pulled over a pulley, which is not the correct answer. Answer number B is a large wheel with earthen pots tied to the outer ends of its spokes. And the third option is a larger earthen pot driven by bullocks. Okay. And the fourth option is a large water bucket pulled up by rope directly by hand. So this is a very tricky question. Just because of the options, it is even more tricky. Why? Because the option B is saying a large wheel with earthen pots tied to the outer ends of its spokes. So this can be the exact answer. But look at the third option. That is a larger earthen pot driven by bullocks. That is also a method through which this Araghatta system was implemented. This Araghatta system, to be precise, was introduced during the medieval period. There are debates amongst historians. For example, some historians claim that in the 12th century, particularly when Kalahana composed Rajtarangini, there are like references to Araghatta, practices like Araghatta. And some other historians claim that particularly in the 16th century Punjab region, this Araghatta system is becoming one of the major modes of irrigation. So it was an irrigation system. It was an instrument of the irrigation system in the early medieval to medieval India. Uh, But the main confusion comes with option number B and option number C. But the most important, the most decisive factor that actually prioritizes option number B is that a large wheel. Wheel was the primary device that was used in the Araghatta system. So the correct option is option B, a large wheel with earthen pots tied to the outer ends of its spokes. And spokes, that means rods attached to the wheel, that is also one of the feature of the Araghatta. Okay, so option B is the correct answer. Okay, now let's come to uh, question number 4. That is, who among the following rulers in ancient India had assumed the title Bhattavilasa, Vichitrachitta, and Gunabhar? So the correct answer is that there are four answers: Mahendra Varman the first, Simha Vishnu, and the third is Narasimha Varman the first, and the fourth is Simha Varman. Please don't go by the existing remarks. The correct answer is Mahendra Varman the first. Okay, the correct answer I'm repeating is is the first one, option number A, Mahendra Varman the first, who had a prolonged battle with the Chalukya ruler of Vatapi, whose name was Pulakeshi II. The Pallava ruler Mahendravarman I, who had a prolonged battle with Pulakeshi II of the Chalukyas, assumed the title of these Mattavilasa, Vichitra Chitta, and Gunabhara. Okay, now let's come to question number 25. Question number 25 is Fa-hien, one of the famous Chinese pilgrims. The Chinese pilgrim traveled to India during the reign of, this is almost like a direct or basic question, Samudragupta, Chandragupta II, Kumaragupta I, and Skandagupta. The correct answer is Chandragupta II. And if we go through Fa-hien's accounts on Indian civilizations and Indian dynasties, we will see that Fa-hien deliberately traveled some Buddhist stupas and sites, and he uh, glorified Chandragupta II's empire, the Gupta Empire, to a great extent. Okay, so yes, the correct answer is B, Chandragupta II. Now let's come to question number 26. Who, among the following, led a successful military campaign against the kingdom of Srivijaya, okay, the powerful maritime state, which ruled at Malay Peninsula, Sumatra, Java, and neighboring islands. Uh, so this is also a very important question. Uh, am I audible? This is also a very important question. Uh, the options are Amoghavasha from the Rashtrakuta dynasty. Option B is Prataparudra from the Kakatiya dynasty of Warangal. Option C, Rajendra the First, okay, from the Chola dynasty, and option D, Vishnuvardhana of the Hoysala dynasty. So the correct answer is Rajendra the First from the Chola dynasty, Rajendra Chola the First, who actually made couple of campaigns to the Malay Peninsula, particularly to the Srivijaya Empire, and that is how. During the Chola period, because of their military and naval prowess, because of their maritime prowess, India actually expanded in Indian civilizations actually expanded greatly towards the southeastern parts of Asia. Especially if we look at modern history of India in the 20th century, on the basis of these civilizational connections, Indians formed an organization called the Greater India Society. Okay, based on the Chola occupancies in the Southeast Asia. This is a very important question. And the correct answer is Rajendra Chola, Rajendra the First. Okay. Uh, Now let's come to question number 27. With reference to ancient India, that is 600 to 322 BC, consider the following pairs. Okay. So the first option is Asmaka Godavari, Kamboja Vipas, Avanti Mahanadi, Kosala Sarayu. Okay. This question is almost direct. I mean, if you go through the cartography of ancient India, you'll be able to address the answer very clearly. Asmaka Godavari is correctly aligned. Kamboja Vipas is not correct. Okay, Cambodia is far away from the riverbed of Vipas or Bias. Avanti and Mahanadi. Avanti is located in the Madhya Pradesh region. Mahanadi is in Odisha region, so they don't align properly. And Kosala, Sarayu, which is correctly aligned. Okay, so the correct answer will be only two. Okay, option B, only two. Uh, Now, let's come to question number 28. The first Gandharva Mahavidyalaya, a music training school, was set up in 1901 by Vishnu Digambar Paluskar in the correct answer is there are four options: Delhi, Gwalior, Ujjain, and Lahore. The correct answer will be option B. Option B, please take a note. Option B, Lahore. Okay. Uh, in Lahore, the first institution was established called Gandharva Mahavidyalaya in 1901 by Vishnu Digambar Paluskar. Okay, Paluskar. Now, let's come to question number 29. Ashokan inscriptions suggest that the Pradeshika, Rajuka, and Yukta were important officers at the village level administration, district level administration, provincial administration, and fourth option is level of the central administration. Now, this is a very tricky question. If we look at the first two options, they're very closely tied to each other. Village level administration and district level administration. If you go through majority of the historical sources, including H.C. Rai Chaudhury's book, including Romila Thapar's book, including D.N. Shah, Binder Singh, you'll find the correct answer is probably district level administration. But village level administration had a similar structure, okay, of the district level administration. For example, Pradeshika. Pradeshika was a umbrella term. Pradeshika was a rank that was, it's like that was introduced by the Mauryans to actually supervise all the district and village level administrative activities. Okay, but Rajuka and Yukta, they were strictly district level administrators. Rajukas were basically people who used to take care of the measurements of the lands. The word Rajuka comes from Raju, that means rope. Okay, so those who used to take care of the measurements of the lands were called Rajuka, and they were assisted by a group of other ministers called Yuktas. Okay, they used to take care of the land assessment and revenue collection. Okay, Rajuka and Yukta. So if we go by the existing historical sources, Pradeshika, Rajuka, and Yukta, if they are kept together, they will be a part of the district level administration. So the answer number B, district level administration, is correct. Okay. So let's come to the 30th question. Consider the following statements in respect of the non-cooperation movement. Statement number one, the Congress declared the attainment of Swaraj by all legitimate and peaceful means to be its objective. Okay. Now, the second point is it was to be implemented in stages with civil disobedience and non-payment of taxes for the next stage. For the next stage, only if Swaraj did not come within a year and the government resorted to repression. Okay. So as we can understand from these two statements are not contradicting each other, and these are both correct in nature. Okay, so question number both statement number one and statement number two, they are correct. So option C, statement number two and statement number one, both one and two are correct. Okay, so that is it. From question number 21 to question number 30, I have discussed. Let's come to the next segment. I think my part is already done. Thank you very much.
So question number 41, it is about NATO. So as you all must be knowing that a war is going on between Russia and Ukraine for last 3 years, and hence NATO was on expected lines. It is asking how many of these 6 countries are part of NATO. So answer is only 4 of these 6 countries are part of NATO. These 2 countries, Austria and Serbia, they are not part of NATO. Reason being they are militarily neutral countries, right? So Austria and Serbia, if you remove, rest 4, they are part of NATO. Then the next question, question number 42, it is about out of these 6 countries, from how many of these 6 Andes mountain they pass. So Andes mountain, if you know, they are look Andes mountain. It is towards western side of, I mean South America. So if you know this much also, you can remove the options. So Brazil, it is towards eastern side of South America, as well as if you have to remove Paraguay also, that is because it is landlocked country. So if you remove these 2 countries, remaining 4 countries, from all these 4 countries, Andes they pass, right? Bolivia, Colombia, Ecuador, and Venezuela. Then question number 43, it is about 3 water bodies, and they are asking out of these 3 water bodies, from which of these 3 or how many of these 3 equator passes, right? It is, to be honest, a little difficult question. Reason being these water bodies are not so heard of, right? And the correct answer is from none of these. From none of these water bodies, uh, equator passes. So Lake Tanganyika, it is in Africa. It is located in Tanzania, but it is slightly lower to equator. Similarly, this next lake, it is located in Cambodia. Cambodia is nowhere, or from Cambodia, equator doesn't pass. And the third lake, Patos Lagoon, it is in Brazil. But the thing is, it is towards southern part of Brazil, and hence it also does not touches equator. So answer would be D, none. Question number 44, it is about production of turmeric. It is slightly factual question. It is asking about India is the largest producer and exporter of turmeric. That is absolutely correct statement. Then it says India produces more than 30 varieties of turmeric. That is also true. In India, we have many varieties of turmeric, even more than 30. And then thirdly, it mentions about the states where the major part of turmeric is produced. So Maharashtra, Telangana, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. So in southern part of India, turmeric is produced more, and hence all 3 statements are correct. Answer would be option D, right? Question number 45, it is again very straightforward question from geography. It is about continental drift theory. If you all know about this theory, so it says that there was only one landmass, Pangaea, and only one water body, Panthalassa, in the beginning, and slowly it started drifting, right? So land masses, it started breaking and started drifting as well. So statement 1 says the belt of ancient rock from Brazil coast matches with the Western Africa. So that is what one of the proof of continental drift theory, right? Alfred Wegener, he has given this as proof of the drift theory which he has proposed, that the rocks of the eastern part of South America matches with western part of Africa. So statement 1 is correct. Statement 2 is about gold deposit of Ghana. Again, Ghana is also located in western part of Africa, and are derived from Brazil. So Brazil is towards eastern part of South America. So again, this statement is also correct. And the third, it says the Gondwana system of sediment from India is known to have its counterparts in 6 different land masses of the southern hemisphere. Again, true, because Gondwana land, earlier it used to be a very big land mass. India has broken away. Some part of India has come from Gondwana system, right? So all 3 statements are correct. Answer would be B. Then the next question, it is about dust particles in atmosphere. Okay, so that is also very straightforward, very easy question from geography. It says that the amount of dust particles in the atmosphere is more in subtropical and temperate areas. So that is, you see, that is absolutely correct. Reason being, in equatorial region as well as polar region, dust particles are less in number. In equator, there is more rainfall, and hence dust is less. In polar region, there is more ice, right? So dust particles are less. That is absolutely correct. Statement 2 says that subtropical and temperate areas have less dry winds. This statement, it is incorrect. Reason being, if you all know, subtropical and temperate areas, these are the areas where maximum number of deserts are found, right? So and hence the winds are more dry here, not less dry. So more dry winds are found in subtropical and temperate areas. So statement 1 is correct, 2 is incorrect. Answer would be C. Next statement, it is about isotherms, right? So isotherms are those lines where temperature is same, right? So if let's say this is the line, so all the points on this line will be having same temperature, let's say 20 degrees centigrade. So statement 1 is saying that in January, in northern hemisphere, the isotherms bend equatorwards while crossing the land masses. So that is again it is very easy to understand. You see, on land part, the temperature it goes down fast because of cooling, or land cools earlier or faster than the ocean, right? So if this is the isotherm, during winters, what will be happening is isotherm will be going towards equator on land, right? On land it will be going towards equator because land cools down faster as compared to ocean. That the explanation they have given in statement 2, the air over ocean is warmer than that of the land masses in northern hemisphere. That is again absolutely correct statement. So answer would be, because statement 2 is correct explanation also of statement 1, A would be the correct answer, right? Then the next question, it is about again from geography, it is about rocks. Statement 1 says, in the context of effect of water on rocks, chalk is known as a very permeable rock, whereas clay is known as quite an impermeable or less permeable rock, right? So statement 1 is correct, right? Statement 1 is correct. Chalk is very permeable, right? So permeable means water can easily pass through this rock, right? Whereas clay, as you all know, clay are not very permeable rock. They are impermeable in nature. They don't allow water to get past. So statement 1 is correct. Statement 2 says chalk is porous as well and hence can absorb water. So porous are those rocks where there are small holes, and hence because of which water can be absorbed between the holes. That statement is also correct. Statement 3 says clay is not at all porous. So this word, not at all, it makes the statement very extreme. If you even know the tricks of solving MCQs, even by looking at this statement, not, or this word, not at all, so it is outrightly rejecting even a small percentage of porousness into clay. So statement 3 is incorrect. There is small amount of porousness there in clay as well. So statement 3 is incorrect. 1 and 2 are correct. So answer would be option C. Only one of the statement 2 and 3 is correct, right? Then question number 49, again from geography. It says without the atmosphere, temperature would be well below freezing point everywhere on the earth's surface. That statement again very easy, because it is atmosphere of the earth which absorbs the radiations or the sunlight coming from sunlight, right? And hence the temperature of the earth, what we see, is because of the greenhouse effect only. Greenhouse effect, right? Greenhouse effect is this only, that the atmosphere around us absorbs some of the solar radiations, right? So statement 1 is correct. Statement 2 says heat absorbed and trapped by the atmosphere maintains our planet's average temperature. Yes. So if there is no atmosphere, heat will not be absorbed, and if heat will not be absorbed, the earth will be very cool, or it will be very cold planet. Statement 3 is atmosphere's gases like carbon dioxide are particularly good at absorbing and trapping radiation. So that we all know, CO2, and hence we say CO2 is responsible for climate change or global warming, because CO2 can absorb the heat, it can trap the radiation. So all three statements are correct. Very easy question. Option C will be the correct one. Question number 50 is about Rashtriya Gokul mission. As the name only suggests, so it is this mission is for indigenous. Gokul means these cattle and buffaloes, right? So it is for indigenous cattle and buffaloes. The statement 1 says it is important for upliftment of rural poor, as majority of low producing indigenous animals are with small and marginal farmers and landless laborers. Statement 1 is correct, because as we all know that the indigenous varieties or breeds of these animals, they are found more with the poor farmers in India. If we can improve their quality or their breed, it will be benefiting more to the poor farmers in India. Second is, it was initiated to promote indigenous cattle and buffalo rearing and conservation in a scientific and holistic manner. So this was the objective of the mission. Again, very easy. Both these statements are correct. Answer would be C. Question number 51. It is about panchayats. Statement 1 says panchayats at the intermediate level exist in all states. Again, this statement, this word all makes this statement incorrect, because some of the states, especially in Northeast India, which come under 6th schedule, they don't have. Secondly, the states which have less than 20 lakh of population, they also need not to have 3 level or 3 tier of Panchayati Raj system. They can have only 2 level as well. The statement 1 is incorrect because the word all is mentioned here. Second, it says to be eligible to become a member of Panchayat at intermediate level, a person should be attaining the age of 30 years. Again, 30 is incorrect. So you can, in fact, if you know that to become a member of Lok Sabha, you need to be only of 25 years. How can to become a member of Panchayat you need to be 30-year-old? So even if you have that much of common sense, we could have eliminated this. Answer is, you need to be only 21-year-old to become a member of Panchayat, even at intermediate level. Then the third statement says the CM of a state constitute a commission to review the financial position of panchayats at the intermediate level. Now you see, to review the financial position of panchayats at any level, we have state financial or finance commission. State finance commission, it is a constitutional body, right? It is not CM which forms SFC. It is formed by the governor from time to time appoints state finance commission, or it is a constitutional body. CM has no role to play in this, right? And it is not only for the intermediate level, it is for all 3 levels of panchayats. So statement 3 is also incorrect. Answer, they're asking the not correct, incorrect statement only. Answer would be D. Then question number 52 is about BIMSTEC. So recently, Prime Minister, he attended the BIMSTEC summit. So it says it is a regional organization consisting of 7 members. So that we all know, right? BIMSTEC has only 7 members. Even now in 2025 also, it has 7 members only. The next statement says it came into existence with the signing of Dhaka Declaration in 1999. Dhaka Declaration, it was signed in 1997, right? Not in 1999. Statement 2 is also incorrect. Statement 3 says Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Nepal are founding members of BIMSTEC. Nepal is not the founding members of BIMSTEC, right? Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, Thailand are fine, but Nepal was not the founding member. Nepal has joined much later in 2004. So statement 3 is also incorrect. Statement 4 is about in BIMSTEC, the subsector of tourism is being led by India. No tourism subsector, it is led by Nepal. It was a little difficult statement to remember the subsectors of BIMSTEC. But as you can see, only statement 1 is correct. Answer would be option D. Right. Then the next question is about the jury to select a recipient of Gandhi Peace Prize. So Gandhi Peace Prize, it was started by Narasimha government. The jury to select the recipient, it consists of Prime Minister, Chief Justice of India, Leader of Opposition in Lok Sabha, plus Speaker of Lok Sabha, not the President of India. And President appoints 2 eminent citizens, 2 eminent persons in this jury. There are 6 members to the jury, but President is not part of this jury. So if you remove the first statement, 2, 3, and 4, option C will be the correct. Moving forward to question number 54, it is about GAGAN. This question UPSC is asked earlier as well, and if you know the full form also, you can easily answer this question. GPS aided geo augmented navigation is GAGAN. Statement 1 says it is designed to provide additional accuracy and integrity. So that is very easy to say. Using GPS, we will be improving the accuracy of the, in the flights it is used mostly. So flights can have better accuracy using GPS. Statement 2 says it will allow more uniform and high quality of air traffic management. Yes, obviously using GPS we can again use it for this purpose. But the statement 3 says it will provide benefits only in aviation but not in other modes of transportation. This word only makes this statement incorrect. So right now mostly we were using it for aviation, or we started first using it for aviation, but in road and other sectors also we use it. So this only makes this statement extreme, right? Statement 3 is incorrect. Answer would be option D, 1 and 2. Then the next question is AI summit, which was held in February 2025. Prime Minister himself attended this summit. So it was co-chaired by India along with France. And this event, it was built on the advances made in the earlier two summit. One was held in UK, another was held in South Korea in 2023 and 2024. Both these statements are correct. Statement 1 is correct. Statement 2 says, along with other countries, US and UK also signed the declaration on inclusive and sustainable AI. In fact, these were the two major countries which refused to sign this declaration. They said it puts extra or more regulations on the companies working in the field of AI, right? So because of over regulation, USA and UK refused to sign, right? So that was the news at that time. Statement 2 is incorrect. Answer would be A, right? Moving forward to next question. Next question is very factual and very difficult also, I'll say. They are asking about some international years declared by UN. One is International Year for Women Farmer, then International Year for Sustainable and Resilient Tourism, International Year of Peace and Trust, International Year of Asteroid Awareness and Planetary Defense. All these 4 years which have been given are correct. It was very factual question, nothing to explain, but because I mean all these 4 years and nobody will be remembering it, I guess. But answer is D. The next question is regarding BRICS. So BRICS, it says 16th BRICS summit was held under the chairmanship of Russia in Kazan. This statement is correct, right? So last year in Russia, 16th BRICS summit happened. Then the statement 2 says Indonesia has become a full member of BRICS. This statement is also correct. In January 2025 only, Indonesia has joined BRICS. So it was invited by Brazil earlier only. So invitation was sent to Indonesia to join BRICS earlier only, but it has joined recently in January 2025. So statement 2 is also correct. Please try to understand, you should not club these two. Statement 2 is not about 16th BRICS summit. Indonesia has joined BRICS. It has become a full member of BRICS in 2025, not in Russia Kazan summit. And the statement 3 says the theme of the 16th BRICS summit was strengthening multiculturalism for just global development and security, right? Statement 3 is incorrect. Reason being, the word here is not multiculturalism in the theme, it is multilateralism, right? So this was a very small change in the theme UPSC has done. The theme was strengthening multilateralism for just global development and security, and they have made it multiculturalism, which makes the statement 3 incorrect. Answer would be 1 and 2. Question number 58 is about Lokpal. Statement 1 says the power of Lokpal applies to public servants of India, but not to the Indian public servants posted outside India. So even if you don't know this, that whether the power of Lokpal applies to outsider people of Indian government who are working outside India, even then we can solve this question. Let's see the question number, the statement number 2. The chairperson or a member shall not be a member of parliament or a member of legislature of any state or UT, and only the CJI, whether incumbent or retired, has to be the chairperson. So this part 1 is fine. The chairperson can only be a judicial member, not from parliament or state assembly. But the thing is, if you have read the news a year back or so, the first chairperson of Lokpal which was appointed was Justice Pinaki Ghosh. He was not the chief justice. He was merely a retired Supreme Court judge. So the word chief justice makes it wrong. So even a judge, retired judge or sitting judge of Supreme Court can become Lokpal's chairperson. Statement 3 is the chairperson or a member shall not be a person of less than 45 years of age. This is correct. It is a relatively factual information that to become a member of Lokpal, you should be at least 45 years old. So statement 3 is correct. And statement 4 is Lokpal cannot inquire into the allegation of corruption against the sitting Prime Minister of India. This statement is obviously incorrect because this was the demand of Anna Hazare movement to have such an institution of Lokpal which can even start investigation against the highest officials of India, including Prime Minister. Right? So Prime Minister has been given some exemption, but in general, the corruption allegations even against Prime Minister can be investigated by Lokpal. So statement 2 and 4 are incorrect. Statement 3 is correct. So even if you don't know the first one, answer would be A. Then come to question number 59. It was about first Kho Kho World Cup, which was held in January 2025. It is from current affairs only. So it says the event was held in Delhi. Statement is correct because it was Kho Kho in both men's team as well as women's team. India has won. The, the thing is the score which they have given in statement 2 and 3 that Indian men they beat Nepal with a score of 78 to 40. This was the score of Indian women team, right, when they beat Nepal. And the score which is given in statement 3, it was the score of Indian men's team. So you need to remember the score as well, not just the winner and runner up. Even score you have to have some idea in order to solve this question. So because they have interchanged the scores in statement 2 and 3, both 2 and 3 becomes incorrect. Answer would be 1 only. And the last question from this part is that in the finals of 45th Chess Olympiad held in 2024, where Gukesh D became the world's youngest winner after defeating the Russian player, and namely this. So this statement, otherwise it is fine, but the player which was defeated by, if you have seen that match, player which was defeated by Gukesh D was not a Russian player; it was a Chinese player. A Chinese player was defeated by Gukesh D, and hence statement 1 becomes incorrect. Statement 2 says Abhimanyu Mishra, an American chess player, holds the record to become world's youngest ever grandmaster. This statement is correct. It also became a major news. He is merely 12-year old, and he has become the youngest person to become a grandmaster in chess. So only statement 2 is incorrect. Right? Answer would be B. Now from question number 61 onwards, I'll ask Prabhuling sir to discuss.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Divanshu sir. Welcome back, students. The first we are going to look at the section of economic questions from the. I hope screen is visible, sir.
No, sir, not yet.
Not yet, sir.
Okay. Now it's visible, I feel. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
With regard to the question number 31, for the first thing that I wanted to tell you, among all these sections, that is, be it the history, geography, polity, and the economics. As we have been seeing from the last 4 to 5 years, the economic questions have been on a little easier side in comparison with the other three major pillars. Okay, those same has happened this year as well. Questions has been a little bit on a easier side as well as the straightforward. So where I can easily say the strike rate can be in excess of 90 percentage. Okay, so let us quickly start with the question number 31. With reference to the investments, consider the following statements: bonds, stocks, hedge funds, venture capital, and which happens to be the alternative investment funds. Okay, as we are already aware, there exists something called as the conventional funds and the alternative investment funds. Alternative investment funds, what happens in AIF, which the SEBI, the which through the rules of 2012 clearly has defined what constitute as an alternative investment fund, and it has categorized into three category of alternative investment fund: AIF1, AIF2, AIF3. Okay, in the alternative investment funds, the money from the high net worth individuals or the institutions, that is pooled in and that is invested. Okay, so be it Hedge funds, be it venture capital funds, infrastructure funds, fund of funds, that all constitute as alternative investment funds. The conventional method of investment has been, or the traditional happens to be the bonds, stocks. Okay, so they are asking us to identify the AIF, that is the hedge funds and the venture capital. Here, the only two, bonds and stocks, are the conventional or traditional kind of funds. Next one, again, very easy question number 32. Which of the following are the source of income for the Reserve Bank of India? Buying and selling of government bonds? Absolutely yes. On behalf of Government of India, who buys and sells the government securities, that happens to be the the Reserve Bank of India. Yes. Buying and selling of foreign currency? Yes, they are the one who act as a regulator of foreign currency. Pension fund management. Here we need to understand very clearly, the Union government has established something called as the PFRDA, Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority. So third is not the option. Lending to the private companies, RBI does not lend to the private companies. So 3 and 4 are wrong. Printing and distributing the currency notes, yes, which we call it as the signorage. For example, to print a currency of a 200 rupee, RBI spends somewhere between to 5 to 7 rupee. That means by printing it, RBI's profit amounts to 193 rupees to 195 rupees. Okay, which we call it as the signorage. So only 1, 2, and 5 are correct. That is the option is the D. So which is straightforward, very, very easy questions. Now the question number 33 is on a little bit on a, I won't say on a tougher side, but relatively with respect to 32. Okay, we are supposed to identify, the organizations, some of the functions, and where it works. Okay, Directorate of Enforcement, which has been in news from the past, many years, and the government, the Supreme Court also had said that the ED has been functioning outside the ambit of law. Okay, and Supreme Court clearly said enough is enough. Okay, the Directorate of Enforcement functions under the Ministry of Finance. It is not the Ministry of Home Affairs. So even if they know where it works, that particular, straight away, number one is wrong. Then we have a Directorate of Revenue Intelligence. Yes, it enforces the provisions of the Customs Act 1962. One of the functions it has. It functions under the Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance. Yes. Then you have the Directorate General of Systems and Data Management. What it does, that is the big data analytics. It analyzes the large set of a data, which assist the CBDT officers to identify the tax evaders. Okay, so that is the true as well. So where it works, Department of Revenue. So only two pairs are rightly matched here. The answer happens to be the B. So moving to the question number 34, very straightforward, very easy again, which has been again in the news as part of current affairs. The RBI mandates all the listed companies in India to submit the business responsibility and sustainability report. This is straight away wrong. Who does this? That is the SEBI. SEBI does this. So one is wrong. If one is wrong, A and C are straight away removed. Let us read the statement number 2. In India, a company submitting BRSR makes disclosure in the report that are largely non-financial in nature. Yes. So 2 happens to be the true. Question number 35. Two statements are given. In India, income from allied agricultural activities like poultry farming and wool rearing in rural areas is exempted. Yes. In India, the rural agricultural land is not considered a capital asset under the provisions of the IT Act 1965. This is also true, but the statement number 2 does not explains the statement number 1. So here the answer happens to be the B. Next, question number 36. This has been the one that was in news more than a year ago. Okay, we have something called as the Mineral Security Partnership that was, in the wake of China's rise. Okay, where the China enjoys a hegemony, we can say, with regard to the critical minerals, the minerals which are very much, which you call it as the rare earth minerals, which are very much important for the electronic devices, defense equipments, missiles, everything. So what the US has done, US, Canada, Italy, Japan, the UK, they all have came together and formed an organization, I mean an alliance, which we call it as the military, I mean mineral security partnership. India has joined a year later. Yes, we have joined. Statement number one is true. India is a resource rich country in all the 30 critical minerals that it has identified. India has identified certain critical minerals in its own backyard where it is rich. Yes. The Parliament in 2023 has amended the Mines and Minerals Development Act, empowering the central government to exclusively auction mining lease and all. Yes, this is also true. I mean, considering the strategic autonomy and the strategic advantage it has, 36 is also the D. Next, question number 37. Look at, as regards to the returns from an investment in a company, generally bondholders are considered as relatively at a lower risk than a stockholders. Yes, we know very clearly, if you are a bondholder, regardless whether the company makes any profit or loss, you are going to get your interest, the annual return that will be given. So whether it's making profit, whether it's making loss, still you are getting your money. So relatively it is on a lesser risk than a stockholder, because stockholder will get the money only when company makes profit. Okay, so statement number one is also true. Bondholders or the lenders to the company, yes, because I accepted the bond, in return of bond I gave the money to the company. Yes, I'm a lender to the company, no doubt at all. Whereas the stockholders or the owner, stock, I own certain percentage of ownership. This is also true. So statement number three, for repayment purpose, the bondholders are prioritized over the stockholders by the company. Absolutely yes. The bond, I mean, in case when a company is being liquidated, the bondholders will be given a preference over the stockholders. Okay, so all the statement happens to be the true. Statement 1 and 2 are correct, and statement 1 explains the right. Next one, question number 38. Can you see here? This is where the 3 1. Okay. A is the right one. Question number 38. India accounts for a very large portion of all equity option contract traded globally, thus exhibiting a great boom. No, India is not the one. We see that's in the US. So statement one is a false. India's stock market has grown rapidly in recent past, even overtaking the Hong Kong's at some point of time. If you going by the market capitalization, India's, that is the Bombay Stock Exchange, has overtaken Hong Kong. Yes, no doubt at all. But we still lag behind the Shanghai Stock Exchange, okay, and the Nasdaq as well. So statement number 2 is also true, since he's talking about the Hong Kong. There is no regulatory body either to warn the small investors about the risk of option trading or act on unregistered financial advisors. This is where it is false. Okay, the SEBI is the regulatory that keep on that advises the one. Next, question number 39. The question is related to the circular economy. Circular economy reduces the emissions of greenhouse gases. See, circular economy is all about reducing the carbon footprint. It's all about minimizing the wastage. So circular emission reduces the emission of greenhouse gases. Yes, I mean, statement number 1 is true. Circular economy reduces the use of raw material as a input. Yes, again, the concept of a reuse. Okay, that is where the circular economy reduces the wastage in the production process. This is also the true. Statement number 2 and 3 are correct, and both of them explain the statement number 1, because the reliance on the raw materials and the wastage reduction has reduced, so that makes the yes correct. It is talking about the capital receipts, because we know capital receipts. What is a capital receipts? Capital receipt is something which leads to decline in the assets of a government as well as the increase in the liability of a government. Okay, so capital receipts create a liability, correct, and reduction in the asset of a government, this is also correct. So one happens to be the correct. Borrowings and disinvestments are capital receipts. Yes, if the India decides to borrow from ADB, that is again our liabilities have increased. Disinvestment, the proceeds whenever government decides to sell its any part of the company, which we call it as the disinvestment. Disinvestment is nothing but it is leading to the decline in the assets of a government company. Again, that is also true. The interest received on the loans create liability of the government. No, interest received does not create any liability. Liability is something which we owe to somebody else. That interest belongs to us. Let's say we have given 1,000 crore loan to the Nepal. Nepal is paying us 10 crore interest every year to us. This is not a liability to us at all. So only 1 and 2 only are the correct here. Remember very clearly, interest received is not a liability for the government. Okay. Then we have, let's move to the question number 61 to 65. Cancel. So here the question number 61, statement number 1. Again, question on a rare earth metals. Rare earth elements are used in the manufacture of flat television screens and the computer monitors. Absolutely yes, that's a photophosphorescent, that is where the shine. Statement number 1 is true. Some rare earth elements have the phosphorescent properties. That is what it explains. So both statement 1 and statement are correct. Statement 2 explains the statement 1 as well. 61 is the A. Statement 62. Indian Railways have prepared a national rail plan to create a future ready railway system by 2028. No, it is by 2030. The Kavach, that is when the anti-brake system, the okay, Kavach, an automatic train protection system developed in collaboration with Germany. No, it's an indigenous system. So statement number 2 is also the happens to be the false. Okay, statement number 1 is also false. So covered system consists of RFID tags fitted on track in a station sections. Yes. So he's asking us to identify the incorrect one. That's 1 and 2 are the incorrect. Then the question is related to the microgravity research. Microgravity is a concept where the gravitational pull is very low. Okay, so 3 missions are being given here. Axiom 4, Spardex. Spardex is related to the space docking, where it's headed, off ISRO. Okay, Gaganyaan is also of ISRO. So microgravity research only 2, that is the Axiom 4 and the Gaganyaan. Okay, so this is the B. Next, again very much in the news, because we are seeing from the past 3 to 4 years, defense is the one that has got the favor of UPSC. Drawn here to 228 is a maritime patrol aircraft, is also being used by the Indian Navy as well, no doubt at all. IL-76 is a supersonic combat aircraft. No, IL-76 happens to be the heavy aircraft. I mean, it is used to transport the military machinery. It is also used as the refueling aircraft. It is not a combat aircraft. It is something like C-130J Hercules or the C-17 Globemaster. They all happens to be the heavy duty transport aircraft. So again, C-17 Globemaster is a military transport aircraft. So C-17, IL-76, C-130J Hercules all happens to be the, they are like jumbo jets. Okay. So here the only 2 are correct, as IL-76 has been wrongly described. Next one, the artificial way of causing the rainfall, which is a straightforward and which is easy as well. This is the silver iodide and the potassium iodide. So 65 is A is the correct. So this is one section. I mean, among all that happens to be a little on a easier side. That's it from my end. Over to you, Tarun sir.
Yes, thank you, Professor. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Tarun. I'm handling polity-related questions in today's session. And as usual, polity is like a make or break when it comes to your dream of clearing the prelims and going into the mains. So, from my preliminary analysis, around 17 direct questions from polity has come. And if you add schemes of government of India, and also if you add international organizations, and also if you add budget related areas into polity section, if you consider that, you would be able to handle at least 25 to 27 questions. Okay. And with regard to the difficulty level, I wouldn't like to call it as easy, moderate, or difficult. I would like to call it as tricky paper. Why I call it as tricky is because the question seems very familiar. The question seems very relevant, and you already know about it. But when it comes to answering it in real time, it is a different ball game altogether. So we are going to discuss about polity related areas starting from question number 66 from set B. I will be sharing the screen with you in a while. Just give me a moment. Yes. I hope the screen is visible. Okay. Question number 66. It talks about pardoning power of the president. Consider the following statements with regard to pardoning power of the president of India. Okay, this question is actually very familiar, and it has been asked in the earlier prelims tests as well. So, like, look at the options. It says that the exercise of this power by the president can be subjected to limited judicial review. So your fundamentals must be more strong to answer this statement. Okay, let's go to the statement number 2. The president can exercise this power without the advice of the central government. So in the initial look into this question, look at the statement: the exercise of this power by the president can be subjected to limited judicial review. Is it right or wrong? The uh, correct answer for that is it is the correct statement. Why I say it is correct is because article number 72 is in discussion here, and there are so many Supreme Court cases which has said that uh, pardoning power of the president is subjected to limited judicial review, considering the uh, the malified intent behind it. If there is a malified intent behind it, then judicial review applies for uh, presidential pardon as well. All right. So that is the correct statement. And the statement number 2 is the president can exercise this power without the advice of the central government. This looks like, the discretionary power of the president, but it is not a discretionary power. Again, the Supreme Court has clearly said that the president must exercise this pardoning power with the aid and advice of the central government. So that's incorrect statement. So the correct statement here is statement number 1, and incorrect is statement number 2. So the correct answer is 1 only. It's a tricky question. It will trick you for sure. And there are so many cases like Maruram versus Union of India in 1981, Kehar Singh versus Union of India in 1989. Dhananjay Chatterjee was a state of West Bengal in 1994. All these are case studies that you should be doing before attempting this question. So that is a tricky question to answer, even though it was familiar. And question number 67 talks about Speaker of the House of the People. So that there are three statements here. Statement number 1: on the dissolution of the House of the People, the Speaker shall not vacate his or her office until immediately before the first meeting of the House of the People after the dissolution. This statement we have seen multiple times, so this is the correct statement. And statement number 2: according to the provisions of the Constitution of India, see, Constitution of India they're talking about, a member of the House of the People on being elected as Speaker shall resign from his or her political party immediately. So immediately is a red sign here. It is not immediate, and also Constitution of India does not provide that option. For your information, it is through an act. anti-defection law that has come into force. Sorry, not anti-defection. It is. Uh, Let me be clear on that. It is, yes, anti-defection law, which is playing the role here and not Constitution of India. So statement number 2 is incorrect. Statement number 3, the Speaker of the House of the People may be removed from his or her office by a resolution of the House of the People passed by a majority of all the then members of the House. See, this is called as effective majority. So this is the correct statement. Provided that no resolution shall be moved unless at least 14 days prior notice to the Speaker. This is also. So the obvious answer is statement number 1 is correct. Statement number 2 is incorrect. And statement number 3 is correct again. So the correct answer is C, that is 1 and 3 only. Again, tricky. I call it as tricky. If your fundamentals are strong, you'll be able to answer it correctly, all right? And question number 68 talks about political party and disqualification. Let's see what is the statement here. Again, it's all statement-based questions, so should be more alert. Look at the statement number 1. It talks about if any question arises as to whether a member of the House of the People has become subject to disqualification under the 10th schedule, the President's decision in accordance with the opinion of the Council of Ministers shall be final. Is it the correct statement? It is the Speaker which decides on the anti-defection related cases. All right, that is again fundamentals, and you will be able to eliminate the option if your fundamentals are strong again. And statement number 2 says that there is no mention of the word political party in the Constitution of India. See, again, it's a tricky statement. See, in the original Constitution, there was no mention of political party, agreed. But look at the statement. It only says that Constitution of India. If it is Constitution of India, then it is talking about the current Constitution. In the current Constitution, through 52nd Amendment Act in 1985, they introduced a separate chapter on political party itself. So the political party is mentioned in current Constitution of India. So what do you choose? Would you call it as a correct statement or an incorrect statement? It's an incorrect statement if you're talking about today's Constitution. So they're talking about today's Constitution only, right? So again, they tricked you big time. Look at that. Statement 1 is incorrect because Speaker decides, and statement 2 is again incorrect because it is true only in the original Constitution. In today's Constitution, the term political party is definitely there. All right. So again, the correct answer is neither 1 nor 2. How many of you have chosen the right answer? Let's see in the comment box. Probably you can share it with me personally. All right. And 69th question talks about minor minerals, rule-making powers. Let's see what is the statement. Statement number 1. In India, state governments have no power for making rules for grant of concessions in respect of extraction of minor minerals, even though such minerals are located in their territories. See, no government can have absolute powers here. So this is a commonsensical statement. State governments have no power for making rules for grant of concessions is incorrect statement, and we have a backing for that in the form of proof as well. Let's look into that. Statement number 2. In India, the central government has the power to notify minor minerals under the relevant law. This seems to be a very general statement, and it is the correct statement. So the correct answer here is, look at statement number 1. It is incorrect because state government do have the power under the Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act to make rules for concessions and regulations of minor minerals. All right. And statement number 2 is correct statement because it's a general statement. The central government can notify what constitutes minor minerals. Okay. So the correct answer here is D. That is, statement 1 is not correct, but statement 2 is correct. All right. And let's move on to the 70th question, which talks about Nature Restoration Law, NRL. Let's see what is it. Which organization has enacted the Nature Restoration Law to tackle climate change and biodiversity loss? It's a kind of factual question. So the answer for that is European Union enacted the Nature Restoration Law to tackle climate change and biodiversity loss. So the correct answer is A, European Union. From 71 to 71 to 80th question, I think Divyanshu sir or Prabhuling sir will be taking over. And after that, I'll come back with more polity questions. I hope you're able to understand the trickiness of this paper, even though it is looks very easy. It's not so easy. So over to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Uh, I'll start discussing with question number 71. my screen now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Before I come to question number 71, the last question which you have discussed, sir, the question number 70 it also talks about who has enacted, which organization has enacted a law, right? It is a law. Now you see, out of these four, which organization has a parliament? Even if you know this much also, you can mark the correct answer. So World Bank, it does not has any parliament to enact a law, right? OECD, it also does not has a parliament. Only European Union has a parliament which can enact a law. These institution cannot make a law, right? So moving forward to question number 71, it is about, it is from economics. It is about fiscal deficit, revenue expenditure, and revenue deficit, fiscal deficit, primary deficit. So the question says, suppose the revenue expenditure is 80,000 crore rupees. So as you all know, in budget, right, we have two sides. So one is revenue, another is expenditure. In revenue also, or the source of income are also of two types. One is revenue source of income, another is capital source of income. In case of expenditure also, one is revenue expenditure, one is capital expenditure. So they have given that the revenue expenditure is 80,000 crore rupees. So this amount they have given, 80,000 crore rupees, right? Then they are saying the revenue receipt of the government is 60,000 crore. So this is revenue receipt, 60,000 crore rupees. Then they are saying the government budget also shows borrowing of 10,000 crore rupees. So borrowing will be a capital receipt, right? Because it reduces or it increases the liability of the government. So 10,000 crore is the capital receipt or capital form of income. And the last is the interest payment of 6,000 crore rupees. So you see, interest payment, it is anyhow included into this. So interest payment, it is a revenue kind of expenditure, right? So it will also be coming here in the expenditure part only, here in the revenue part. So 6,000 crore. Right. Now they are asking about firstly revenue deficit. So revenue deficit, what is revenue deficit? Revenue expenditure minus revenue income. So revenue expenditure, total expenditure, revenue expenditure is 80,000 crore. Revenue income is 60,000 crore. So the difference between two will be the deficit. So 20,000 crore is the deficit. The next thing they are asking is fiscal deficit. So what is fiscal deficit? Total expenditure minus total income. So total expenditure they have given is 80. Total income they have given is 60 plus 10, 70. Meaning the difference is 10,000 crore. That is also correct. Then the third thing they are asking is primary deficit, right? So what is primary deficit? Primary deficit, if you remove the interest payment from the fiscal deficit, you get the primary deficit. So fiscal deficit is 10,000 rupees. Interest payment is 6,000 crore rupees. If you remove 6 from 10, that is 4,000 crore rupees is the primary deficit. So all three are correct, right? Then the next question is about international north-south transport corridor. I hope you all must be knowing about this. The objective of this transport corridor is to connect Indian Ocean and then to Persian Gulf, and then to using Caspian Sea, we want to reach to Europe via Russia, right? That is what the international north-south transport corridor is. So statement one only is correct, India to Central Asia. So when we will be reaching to Caspian Sea, towards east of Caspian Sea, there is Central Asia. So India to Central Asia, then to Europe via Iran, that is INSTC, right? Then question number 73, it is about ethanol producers. Statement 1 says, of the two major ethanol producers of the world, Brazil and the USA, the former produces more ethanol than later. This statement is incorrect because USA produces the highest and Brazil is at number 2 position. For your information, India is at third position. So USA produces much more than Brazil, right? So statement 1 becomes incorrect. Statement 2 says, unlike in the USA, where corn is the principal feedstock for ethanol production, sugar cane is the principal feedstock for ethanol production in Brazil. So this statement is correct. In USA, they use more of corn. On the other hand, in Brazil, they use more of sugar cane. So statement 2 is correct. 1 is Incorrect. Answer would be D. Right. Moving forward to question number 74. 74 is about kind of global warming only. They're saying that World Bank report says that in India, the wet bulb temperature routinely exceeds 35 degrees centigrade, right? What will be the implication of this thing, right? So first statement says peninsular India will most likely suffer from flooding, tropical cyclones and droughts. This statement is correct. Obviously, these all are the implications of increasing global temperature. Statement 2 says the survival of animals, including humans, will be affected by shedding of their body heat through perspiration becomes difficult. This statement is also correct because of global warming, what we are seeing is that the through evaporation or through sweat evaporation, it is becoming difficult, or there is less sweat evaporation because of global warming, because of outside temperature increasing, and hence statement 2 is also correct. Both 1 and 2 are correct. Question number 75 is again about primary deficit. So it says that fiscal deficit is of 50,000 crore and 10,000 crore rupees it is receiving through non-debt creating capital receipt, right? And the country's interest liabilities are 1500 crore rupees. So as we all know that if we remove interest payment from the fiscal deficit, we get the primary deficit. So we even don't need this information of 10,000 crore rupees from fiscal deficit. If we directly remove from 50,000 crore, if we directly remove 1500 crore as the interest liability, we will be reaching to 48,500 crore rupees as the primary deficit. Right? Statement or option A is the correct one. Question number 76, it is about recommendations of the 15th Finance Commission. 15th Finance Commission, which was headed by N.K. Singh, right? They're asking about the recommendations of this commission. Now, in this question, even if you know that the 14th Finance Commission, it had increased the devolution to the state to be increased from 32% to 42%. It was a major change, right? So that from the total proceeds of the taxes, from the net proceeds, the union taxes, 32% used to be devolved to the states earlier before 14th Finance Commission. And the 14th Finance Commission recommended for more devolution of 42%. And it was accepted by the central government as well. It was a major change in the financial federalism in India, and it was a very big news. Even now, the percentage of share or percentage of the union taxes, net proceeds of union taxes, which is shared with the state, is same. Only change which has happened is now it is shared from 42% to 41%. Reason being, from that time, Jammu and Kashmir, which was earlier a state, has become a UT, right? So to states, it is center is devolving 41%, and to J&K they are giving 1%, right? So there has been no change since that time. There has been no change in the devolution of net proceeds from the union taxes to the states. It is still 41%. Finance Commission, it has not recommended for 45%, right? So even if you can eliminate option statement 2, you can reach to the correct answer without knowing the other recommendations of the Finance Commission. So if you remove statement 2, answer would be option C. Then the next question is about IBRD, which is one of the arm of World Bank. It says it provides loan and guarantees to middle income countries. So that is two very easy thing to a very obvious thing as well, right? So to middle income countries, IBRD gives loan, right? The second statement says it works single-handedly to help developing countries to reduce poverty. Now the word single-handedly, again, it makes the statement very extreme that no other institution is doing the same work, right? Only IBRD is doing this work. This statement is incorrect. There are so many such multilateral institutions which provide loan to fight against poverty, not just IBRD. The statement 3 says it was established to help Europe rebuild after World War II. That is very easy thing. World Bank was created in 1945 for rebuilding the Europe. So anyhow, if you know statement 2 is incorrect, answer would be C, 1 and 3. Question number 78, it is about RTGS, and NEFT, it says in RTGS, the settlement time is instantaneous, while in case of NEFT, it takes some time to settle payment. Yes, so this statement is correct, right? So in RTGS, it takes some time. So for the amount of more than 2 lakh rupees, minimum 2 lakh rupees, what we have to do is RTGS. For less than 2 lakh rupees, we do NEFT. In fact, if you know the full form also, RTGS is real time. Real time. RT is real time, and hence the settlement is instantaneous. Statement 1 is correct. Statement 2 says in RTGS, the customer is charged for inward transactions, while that is not the case in NEFT. Meaning it says if the money is coming to your account, inward transaction, right? Then also you have to pay. This is anyhow kind of absurd statement, right? So for getting money, you need not to pay, right? Then statement 3 says operating hours of RTGS are restricted on certain days, while it is not true for NEFT. This statement is also incorrect. Operating hours are same for both RTGS and NEFT. It is not restricted for RTGS. So only statement 1 is correct, right? Now moving forward to question number 79, it says how many of the above countries, right, they can use UPI for international merchant payments. Okay, fine. So again, it is a relatively factual question. There is nothing much conceptual, but even if you know with which all countries India has fairly well relations, friendly relations, you can, I mean, guess the correct answer. So with UAE, to UAE, we have some this kind of agreement. With UAE, we allow using UPI. With France also, Germany does not have such kind of agreement with us. Singapore has, and obviously Bangladesh does not have. So out of these five, only three countries they can use UPI for international merchant payment. Last question from this section is Pradhan Mantri Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. If you all know about this scheme is about rooftop solar plants, solar panels to be installed. It says statement 1 is about this only, targets installation of 1 crore solar rooftop panels in the residential sector. So this statement is correct. Target is of 1 crore only. Second statement is the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. It aims to impart training on installation, operation, maintenance, and repair of solar rooftop system at Rashtriya. That is also correct. Only thing which we have to know is whether the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy is doing this or some other ministry. The MNRE only is responsible for this scheme because it is about solar energy, right? Then the third is it aims to create more than 3 lakh skilled manpower through fresh skilling and upskilling under scheme component. Yes, this is also correct. In order to implement this scheme successfully, the government will be skilling not just 3 lakh, even more than 15 lakh people, right? So all three of them are correct. Answer would be D. Now from question number 81 to 90, I'll again ask Tarun sir to discuss.
Yes, thank you so much, Divyanshu sir. That was very clear and I was able to understand the kind of explanation that you give. Thank you, sir. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So moving on, like I said, polity this time to 17 direct questions, and after 17 direct questions, if you add schemes of government of India like the previous question what Divyanshu sir discussed, and also if you add international organizations like the World Bank, that is the Reconstruction Bank. If you add all of those, easily 22 to 23 questions, that means nearly 22% of the questions you are able to handle with polity and related areas. And your job becomes simpler by, attempting commonsensical questions and then getting into the cutoff list. Right. Now, moving on to the polity remaining questions from 81 to 90, I'll be discussing. And after that, one of my colleagues will take over. Look at the 81st question. It talks about ordinance making power. All right. Ordinance power with reference to the Indian polity, consider the following statements. Statement number 1. Again, polity is full of statement based questions this time. An ordinance can amend any central act. Is it the correct statement? Let's look into it. An ordinance can abridge a fundamental right. Is it the correct statement? Looks like an extreme statement. Let's park it. And statement number 3, an ordinance can come into effect from a backdate, that is retrospective ordinance. Is it possible? Let's look into this. See, ordinance is an executive action for making laws, and it is applicable only when the legislature is not in session. So the first statement, even though it looks extreme, see, an ordinance can amend any central act. It is the correct statement, provided the legislature is not in session. All right. But this is the correct statement. And statement number 2, an ordinance can abridge a fundamental right. This is incorrect. It is incorrect because, abridging fundamental right using ordinance is not acceptable and it cannot happen. And statement number 3, an ordinance can come into effect from a backdate. See, a retrospective law can happen. If a retrospective law can happen, ordinance also can be retrospective. So that is the correct statement. So the statement number 1 is correct, even though it looks, extreme, but it is not extreme. That is why fundamentals are important. And an ordinance can abridge of fundamental rights is incorrect. And statement number 3, that is, an ordinance can come into effect from a backdate. Yes, it is allowed. So the correct answer is C, 1 and 3 only. All right. It's a tricky question again. 82nd question. This is match the following. Look at this. Arunachal Pradesh, the capital is named after a fort. It's a very factual question. Yes, it is named after a fort called Ita Fort. And state has 2 national parks. Does it have 2 national parks? Yes, it has 2 national parks. So it is a factual question. And Nagaland, the state came into existence on the basis of a constitutional amendment act. Is it a true statement? Yes, it came. It came into existence on the basis of a constitutional amendment act itself. We will go through the act also. And Tripura, initially a Part C state, it became a centrally administered territory, that is union territory, with the reorganization of states in 1956, and later it attained the status of full-fledged state. Is it the correct statement? All these 3 are factual, but it is factual related to northeastern states of India, and UPSC has the habit of asking northeastern states in specific. And the answer for that is, Arunachal Pradesh, the first statement is correct. That is, its capital Itanagar is named after Ita Fort, and it has 2 national parks, that is Namdapha National Park and Mauling National Park. Factual question. And Nagaland became a full-fledged state via 13th Constitutional Amendment Act in the year 1962. So your factual information should be strong here. And Tripura was a Part C state, and after that it became a union territory through States Reorganization Act in 1956, and then it was given a full-fledged statehood later on through another act, uh, that is another act based for the northeastern state formation. All right. So the correct answer for 82nd question is C, that is all the 3. So all the 3 are correct, but a little factual, I would call it a difficult question itself. And question number 83 talks about councils under constitution. With reference to India, consider the following councils. That is with regard to committees and councils. Okay, the interstate council is coming under article number 263, so I can easily connect it to the Constitution of India. And then the National Security Council. Is there a provision in the Constitution for National Security Council? I don't think so. And then zonal councils. Zonal councils too doesn't have a constitutional provision. So how many of the above were established as per the provisions of the Constitution of India is the question. Only 1, only 2, all the 3, none. So the correct answer for that is only 1. That is Interstate Council as per article number 263, whereas National Security Council is a cabinet resolution body which was formed in 1998 through Vajpayee government, right? That is BJP government. And statement number 3 is also incorrect because zonal councils are formed through statutory act, that is States Reorganization Act of 1956. So the correct answer is only 1. To tackle this. Statement number 1, the Constitution of India explicitly mentions that in certain spheres, the governor of a state acts in his or her own discretion. Explicitly mentions. Does it explicitly mention? We are talking about article number 163 here. It doesn't explicitly mention, all right? So it's a tricky statement. And statement number 2, the President of India can, of his or her own, reserve a bill passed by a state legislature for his or her consideration without it being forwarded by the governor of the state concerned. See, again, the question of common sense here. Can the president intervene even though he's the head of the state? Can he intervene in the state matters? Head of the state, as in I'm talking about the state called India, and governor is the head of a particular state. And can he intervene in the affairs of the governor? The answer is no. All right. Statement number one, the constitution does not explicitly mention the governor's discretionary powers. It implicitly mentions in article number 163. You can go through article number 163 in detail. All right. And statement number two is incorrect because governor has the power to reserve a bill as per article 201. Why would president intervene? Even if the central government wants a particular bill which is in the state to be reserved for president's consideration, the state government through president can ask the governor to reserve that particular bill. So the information goes from the central government to the president, and from the president it goes to the governor. All right, that's how our system is arranged. No particular power center is absolutely powerful. All right, that's how our constitution is arranged. So the correct answer for this particular question is neither one nor two. So again, tricky, I would say. If your fundamentals are strong, you would be able to answer that. And 85th question, constitutional provisions. Let's see what is this. Separation of judiciary from executive. Which particular part of Indian constitution does separation of judiciary from executive is present? The answer for that is directive principles of state policy. Article number 50 talks about separation of judiciary from executive. All right. And that's a direct question. If you're thorough with your Indian constitution, and you will be able to answer that directly. And the second statement here is valuing and preserving heritage, rich cultural heritage of India. The answer is direct fundamental duties, and that's a correct matching there. And prohibition of child labor, is it your fundamental right? Of course, it is your fundamental right under article number 24. So from fundamental rights and directive principles, they have combined the question and they have asked this question. And the correct answer is all the three are correct matching here. All right. And let's go into the 89th question. We have paucity of time. Legal immunity in Indian polity. What is this legal immunity? Let's look into it. Statement number one again, the governor of a state is not answerable to any court for the exercise and performance of the powers and duties of his or her office. See, many of the students, what they do is, aspirants, what they do is, they think that any extreme statement is a wrong statement. That is not the case. Look at this. Governor of a state is not answerable to any court for the exercise and performance of powers and duties of his or her office is given in the constitution through miscellaneous provisions. All right, article number 361 is what it talks about. Right. So this is a correct statement. And no criminal proceedings shall be instituted or continued against the governor during his or her term of office. Again, it looks like an extreme statement, and if you eliminate it, you're in the wrong side. It is the correct statement, and miscellaneous provisions of Indian constitution provides this immunity to the governor. All right. And statement number three, members of a state legislature are not liable to any proceedings in any court in respect of anything said within the house. Again, it looks like an extreme statement, but it is the correct statement. Articles associated with it are article number I think 105 and 191. I'm not really sure about the articles, but this particular provision is given in the Indian Constitution. These are all, special privileges given to the MPs and MLAs and the governors of this country. All right. So the correct answer here is 1, 2, and 3. And the last question that I will be discussing today is about, petroleum and natural gas regulatory body. It's a body. It's a again, it is, we will have to study about a lot of boards and commissions and committees. And Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board is the board which regulates the refining, storage, and distribution of petroleum. And it specifically does not deal with the production of petroleum. Okay, you got to understand that it is only dealing with the after production areas. For example, it deals with refining, storage, and distribution of petroleum, yes. Marketing and sale of petroleum products, yes. And production of natural gas, yes. But it does not deal with the production of crude oil as such. So the Question here is asked in the same line: how many of the above activities are regulated by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board in our country? So the correct answer is leaving one, that is production of crude oil, is not the area under purview of this PNGRB. It only deals with 2, 3, and 4. Right? So the correct answer is, only 3, not 4. So this is about the polity related questions. I have discussed 15 questions. There could be another 2 or 3 questions directly. I would go through it again. And if we have a chance, I would discuss that also separately. Thank you so much. I would ask my colleague to take over from this. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So the
Thank
last
you,
section
sir.
is question number 91 to 100. Last 10 set of questions. I hope you can see my screen now. So question number 91 to 100 are some very easy questions from either history or world geography. Question number 91 talks about Mahatma Gandhi's one very famous statement, sedition has become my religion. Question asks, at what time Gandhiji gave this statement? During Champaran Satyagraha, or violating salt law, or attending the second RTC, or launch of Quit India movement? So Quit India movement associated slogan we all remember, right? Do or die. And there was no need of, sloganeering, giving any slogan during second RTC, because Gandhiji was going to attend or going to meet the government officials only. The correct answer is B. When Gandhiji was violating the salt law in April 1930, when Dandi March was started, Gandhiji gave this slogan. Then the 92nd question is from ancient history. It is asking that the statue, or that dancing girls statue which has been found in Mohenjo-daro, it is made up of what? It's very easy. It is given in all the standard books. It is made up of bronze, right? Then the next question is about who provided legal defense to the people arrested in the aftermath of Chauri Chaura incident, right? So if you know, Madan Mohan Malviya and one of his colleague Krishna Kant, they gave the legal assistance or legal defense to the people who were arrested after Chauri Chaura incident. Then the next question is from geography. It says, or from world history also, you can say that Portuguese, when they came in 16th and 17th century, they brought out of these following fruits. Which one were brought by Portuguese? One is papaya, second is pineapple, third is guava. Answer is all three of them. In fact, apart from these Portuguese, they brought cashews, avocado, and tomatoes, etc. So many fruits and vegetables were introduced to India by Portuguese. All three of them were brought by Portuguese only. Then the next question is from geography. It says, consider the following countries: UK, Denmark, New Zealand, Australia, and Brazil. Out of these 5 countries, how many of them they have more than 4 time zones? Right. So time zone, if you all know, time zone depends upon the longitudinal stretch of a country. Right. So bigger the longitudinal stretch, more the number of time zones will be there in a country. Now you see, you must be thinking that UK as well as countries like New Zealand, they are very small countries. They might not be having multiple time zones. But the thing is, UK, New Zealand, these countries, they have some small territories outside there. uh, in many other parts of the world also. For example, recently UK has given one territory from Indian Ocean to Mauritius. So UK till now had one territory even now in Indian Ocean. So answer to this question is UK. Yes, it has more than 4 time zones. Denmark, because Denmark has another territory named as Greenland, which is very vast, landmass. So Denmark is having more than 4 time zones because of Greenland. Then New Zealand also has some small islands in the Pacific Ocean, and hence New Zealand also has more than 4 time zones. Australia itself is very big in terms of longitudinal stretch. Only Brazil is one such country which does not has more than 4 time zones. Answer would be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Answer would be only 4 countries. Then the next question is Then the question number 97. It is about, again, about geography only. It is about international date line, right? So if you all know, international date line is a hypothetical line passes between, on the western side there is USA, right? So, and on the eastern side there is Russia. So Siberian region of Russia and Alaska region of USA on the western side, and on the eastern side. Towards west of this line, there will be different date. Towards east of this line, there will be a different date. So it says that this place in Siberia and this place in Alaska are only a few kilometers away. But when people are waking up and getting set for the breakfast in these cities, it would be different days. Yes, so that is the concept of international date line, that towards west and east of this, line, there is different date. There is a difference of 1 day. Statement 2 says, so statement 1 is obviously correct because these two places, Siberia and Alaska, they are separated by IDL, international date line. Statement 2, it says when it is Monday on this place, Anadir, which is in Siberia, it is Tuesday in Nome, which is in Alaska. Now we have discussed that there is a difference of 1 date or 1 day between these two places. But the thing is, when there is Monday in Siberia, right, towards east, it will be Sunday a day before in USA, not Tuesday, right? So towards west, if we go, there is gain of 1 day, right? Meaning it is just Sunday when there is Monday in Russia. So Monday has not even started towards west of international date line. They, in the statement 2, they also have given the difference of 1 day only, but what they have done is they have said that in Nome or Alaska it will be Tuesday. No, it will not be Tuesday, it will be Sunday, and hence statement 2 is incorrect. Answer would be only statement 1. Then it's very easy question. Who among the following was the founder of self-respect movement? We all know it was Periyar, right? It's very straightforward, very easy question. There's nothing to explain here. Then from world history, they are saying they've mentioned few countries and they're asking these countries are rich in which of the following resources. So Botswana, we all know Botswana, it is located towards the southeastern part of Africa. It is very, very rich in diamond. There's so many diamond mines in Botswana. Then Chile is again very famous for lithium. For EVs, we are buying lithium from Chile only, right? Which is one of the rare earth mineral. And then the Indonesia is also very, it is having high or huge resources of nickel there. So all three of them are correct. Answer would be C. And the last question from this paper is, they have mentioned few regions and they're asking in which countries these regions are. Now, out of these three, these two you all might have heard about, even if you have, even if not in current or recently, but in world history also you might have read about. So Normandy, if you all know, Normandy is in France. If in world history you have read. Sardinia, it is not in France, but in Italy, right? If these two you know, they are incorrect. And now this place also, it is not in Italy, it is in Spain, very famous island of Spain, right? So none of these are correctly matched, right? Answer would be D, none, right? So I hope through this discussion you have understood how to tackle the paper as well. You have seen the difficulty level and you have seen the correct answers also, but our purpose was to discuss how to get to the correct answer. Even if you sometimes you might be finding these questions difficult, even then through the help of options you can reach to the correct answer. And there are some sections, some of the questions are relatively easy or very easy, I'll say. If you are able to score well in those sections, if you don't commit silly mistakes in those sections, then qualifying this paper becomes easier. Again, we are not predicting cutoff here. Let us get the, I'll say, a bigger sample. Let us get to know from the students of our college and coaching how well they have scored. On the basis of a bigger sample only, we will be in a position to predict some cutoff. But we again, I hope you have now understood the correct, right answers of the paper. Uh, Over to you, Prabhaling sir, you want to say something?
Yes. Thank you, Divyanshu sir, Tarun sir, Nilanjan sir, for this fruitful discussion on the questions and solutions of the today's civil service examination. For all the our viewers who have been watching, as clearly stressed by each one of our esteemed faculties, the paper was not that easy. At the same time, it was not that tough, but it requires a greater attention to the minute details. I mean, this has been the hallmark of UPSC. This is not just a question paper. Okay, this is, we can say, something called as the battlefield laden with the mines. Okay, where each and every statement has a hidden mine in it. Okay, if you step on it, you might burst. So it is very necessary to carefully navigate through these questions. I would thank once again all my panel members. Thank you, everyone. So that's it in this particular live stream session. We are going to shortly come up with the cutoff prediction as well. So as Divanshu sir has outlined, it requires us to go through a larger sample, a larger pool of the answers. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Have a great night. Thank you.